Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Doha Institute for inviting me here. Over the years, the Doha Institute and the United Nations and my Department of Economic and Social Affairs, we had a very close collaboration on many projects and many meetings, and I'm very happy to see that the Institute is very active also in the preparations for the 20th anniversary of the International Year of the Family. My presentation will focus on the objectives of the anniversary, and to start, I think we should go back to 1994. That was the year when the International Year of the Family was celebrated. The reason for this, for establishing of the International Year of the Family, was to encourage member states and other stakeholders to enact family policies that would help families be the focus of development, and to realize that the family as a unit is the center of development. And the resolution that established the year focused on the fact that we should realize that the principle of subsidiarity is very important here. And this principle very simply seeks solutions to problems at the lowest level of society, in this case, the family unit. The theme of the year was family resources and responsibilities in the changing world, which also reflected the fact that families encounter more and more challenges in the changing world, but their functions are expanding with the support needed from society to fulfill those functions successfully. It's also important to mention that starting in 1994, International Days of Families have been celebrated, and in order to raise awareness on family-related issues. The significance of the International Year of the Family cannot be overstated. The year truly set different actions, a variety of actions at international, regional, and national levels. The family issues have been considered at the International Forum, and research on family issues have been enacted, and this research helped to formulate specific recommendations that were placed in the reports of the Secretary General to serve as important guidelines for member states. And both General Assembly and the Economic and Social Councils adopted resolutions on the family and offered recommendations to not only member states but also other stakeholders. And these recommendations ranged on a variety of issues, and increasingly with time specifically on family policy issues. Also, regional frameworks for action on families have been established, as, for example, Plan of Action on the Family in Africa, and family-oriented policies have been, of course, enacted at national levels. Now, the objectives of the International Year of the Family and its follow-up processes was basically to raise awareness of challenges faced by families, to strengthen national institutions to develop and implement and monitor family-centered policies, also to improve collaboration among national and international civil society organizations in support of family-oriented activities. Another objective was also to build on the results of major events of concern to the family and its individual members. And here we are talking, of course, about the conferences, especially the ones that took place in the 1990s on different issues. Another objective was to review challenges and recommend solutions and support families in their numerous functions. And of course, it's also very important to share good practices in this area. Further to the establishment of the International Year of the Family in 1995, World Summit for Social Development was held in Copenhagen. And at that World Social Summit, there were certain principles also enumerated concerning families. So it was reaffirmed that the family is the basic unit of society and should be strengthened, and it's entitled to receive comprehensive protection and support. And this is basically reconfirming the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Family has supporting educational and nurturing roles and contributes to social integration and social cohesion. In the Copenhagen Programme of Action, the family was framed within the social integration arena, meaning the role of the family in social integration was especially emphasized. Then social and economic policies designed to meet the needs of families were encouraged, and as well as promotion of mutual respect and tolerance and cooperation within the family, and promoting equal partnership between women and men in the family. And of course, more principles have been also enumerated in the Beijing Conference on Women, in the World Summit for Children, in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and in numerous General Assembly and Commission for Social Development resolutions. The General Assembly decided to observe the International Year of the Family as its anniversary on 10-year basis. So we are approaching now the 20th anniversary in this process. And this decade reviews are important to establish also what has been achieved within family policy making and within the 10 years. And the approaching anniversary, of course, is a milestone year, and which governments should use as a landmark to assess their family policies and renew the commitment to the well-being of families. The 20th anniversary has several themes that were already mentioned here, but let me just reiterate that confronting family poverty and social exclusion is the number one theme. Then ensuring work-family balance and advancing social integration and intergenerational solidarity within families and communities. These themes, the reason to establish this theme was basically to follow on the World Summit for Social Development. As you may know, in the summit there were three basic areas of concern. So eradication of poverty, expansion of productive employment, which later on became decent work agenda, and social integration. And of course, these three areas still require attention and urgent action to benefit the well-being of families and societies. And there are specific demographic and socio-economic trends that especially emphasize the importance of these topics, and these are relevant to all regions. So the first topic, the family poverty and social exclusion, well, as was mentioned already, the poverty eradication is a primary concern of the UN, and it's number one Millennium Development Goal. And this will continue in the post-2015 framework. Last week there was a report issued at the UN, a report by the high-level panel on the post-MDG agenda, and in that report actually the new framework was proposed. So poverty remains number one priority with the framework towards 2030, and I would say that the goal this time is more ambitious because, as you may know, the Millennium Development Goal number one is to reduce by half the level of poverty, of extreme poverty, which was established at $1 a day and later changed to $1.25 a day. And this was to be reduced by half by 2015 compared to 1990 levels. This goal has been achieved globally, but it has not been achieved at national levels. So there's still a lot of disparity between regions and between countries on the achievement of this goal. Now, we are trying to argue that poverty eradication should focus on families to succeed, and we have examples of successful efforts, such as, for example, efforts of cash transfer programs that aim to reduce intergenerational transfer of poverty. Let's not forget about the fighting of social exclusion. Social exclusion is often the cause of poverty, and it really relates to the broader definition of poverty, not poverty of income alone, but also poverty because of unequal access to resources, because of discrimination, prejudice, and lack of voice, which is indispensable for poverty eradication. Why this issue is relevant for all regions. In OECD countries, which are mostly all developed countries, the child poverty has not diminished, despite a lot of effort in this area. So the poverty issue is not really unique to developing countries. And in terms of social exclusion, we are very aware that despite positive legislation, despite human rights frameworks enactment, social exclusion of groups and individuals is still strong in many countries, and ethnic minorities, persons with disabilities, older persons face a lot of challenges. And as I mentioned, global progress in those areas is uneven. The second theme that we have for the anniversary is ensuring a work-family balance. This issue is gaining more and more importance globally and at all levels. As we all know, families, especially those that have small children or care for older persons or persons with disabilities, have increasing difficulties in reconciling work and family responsibilities. So this is due to many trends, such as a higher number of women entering labor force, less availability of the next of kin to care for vulnerable family members, more demanding work environments, and rising competition for jobs. In terms of social integration and intergenerational solidarity, there are many trends that affect intergenerational relations. We all know that extended families are shrinking. Families may not live in close proximity. Family members may have to move because of search for jobs, or be it at the regional or international level. Families are more diverse. Young people delay marriage, which was mentioned here, and childbearing. And they also, in many countries, they depend on their families longer. Populations are very rapidly aging, and the burden of care is still placed mainly on women, who, though, enter labor market, in increasing numbers. So they have to juggle responsibility of work and family. Now, what do we do? What have we done so far in this 20th anniversary preparations? At the UN, we commissioned several papers to explore the issues, the themes that I mentioned. So these papers are available on our website. And these papers also contain a number of recommendations. So they review the trends, they review what has been done, but they also show a way forward on these issues. We also held several meetings. We had international meetings on assessing family policies, and another meeting on good practices in family policy making. And also we had one here in Doha on dialogue and mutual understanding across generations. All recommendations from these meetings are, again, on our website, and we try to put them also in the resolutions and in the reports of the Secretary General. So the expertise of the experts that attended these meetings, we wanted to include it in recommendations to member states. And we also have held several regional meetings. So we had one in Brussels in cooperation with the Doha Institute. We had one with African Union to review the plan of action on the family in Africa. Now we're having this one from MENA region, and we also plan others for Latin America and North America. Now, for the 20th anniversary, we have several events planned. So we'll have a high-level panel discussion at the Commission for Social Development that will be held in February. This was requested by the resolution of the Commission of this year, and we hope this to be a panel of high-level representative, and we hope to move the agenda, the family agenda, forward with this panel. We'll also have an international conference for the 20th anniversary, and thank you very much for offering to host this conference. We also hope to attract a lot of attention to this conference and come up with specific recommendations and a call for action. And we'll also have a celebration of the anniversary on 15th of May in New York, which will be the International Day of Families, and we'll have a publication launched then. So in conclusion, I would like to just restate that the anniversary is not just an occasion to celebrate families, to celebrate what has been achieved, but it's also an occasion for the member states, really, to encourage member states to recommit to families and to recognize families as agents of development. And we would like to see concrete policies enacted in favor of families as a sign of this approaching anniversary. And I think we have to continue to demonstrate that families should be at the center of social and economic policies. And for this, we need really good research to prove what a difference families make and how more they can contribute to development. And the development of policies, especially in these areas of poverty eradication, work-family balance, and intergenerational solidarity, should be promoted at all levels, because they really help families. They help well-being of families. They help families to fulfill their functions, and they really enrich societies at large. So for further action, it's really imperative to focus on raising awareness of the issues, on designing, implementing and monitoring policies in these areas, promoting research and sharing of good practices. I would also like to mention the activities of the focal point. They are all listed here, but I don't have to go into detail about them, but just to say that we really hope to cooperate with all of you experts and observers, and we cannot do it alone. We need you to share good practices. We need you to help us come up with good recommendations, to come up with good evaluation of trends that affect families, and I will be very happy to cooperate with you. And we acknowledge that family policy lies within the responsibility of national governments, but we would like to hear also from the governments and also from civil society in all countries to see what particular challenges families face and how we can encourage member states and other stakeholders to do more for families worldwide. And this is my email here and our website, and I hope you'll visit the website, and I hope you will contact me, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.